America in more than 50 years. He says it will change everything about our lives. The way you shop, travel, invest, educate your children, and even how you take care of your health and your own family. Now, this man has made some outrageous predictions over the years. The crazy part is, he's usually right. You see, he predicted the collapse of GM, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and America's biggest mall owner, General Growth Properties. In fact, Barron's called his work a dire prophecy. Recently, he created a video, which you can watch online for free, detailing his biggest and most important prediction yet. And it's a real eye-opener. I can't stress this enough. You should at least watch this free video online today. He explains everything you need to know, including simple steps you can take to protect yourself. You can find the video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com. Watch the free video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com. Hi, folks. This is Alex Jones. I'm looking for people that have the wisdom to spot savings, opportunity, and recognize risk. Saving means to make money. The Cal-Ben Pure Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated and twice as good as what you're using now. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils that contain no useless dyes, perfumes, deodorants, or antibacterials. Your risk is the hundreds of hazardous toxic detergents that give you rashes, itching sores, and deteriorating clothing called lint. If you want something better, if you want something you've never had before, you have to do something you've never done before. Getting a free catalog is easy by calling 800-340-7091 or see Cal-Ben on the web at 5starsoap.com. Take charge of your health now by calling 800-340-7091 or see Cal-Ben on the web at 5starsoap.com. Hi, this is Alex Jones. Did you know that the global elite are now storing non-hybrid seeds in secret storage vaults near the Arctic Circle? Did you know that in a real meltdown, non-hybrid seeds can become more valuable than silver or gold? It's true, seeds have outperformed even gold and silver before in this country, and it's possible that could even happen again. So our friends at Solutions from Science have put together the perfect mix of non-hybrid seeds. They call it a survival seed bank, and it can produce an endless supply of nutrient-dense food for you and your family. And here's the best part. These seeds have not been genetically modified in any way, and you actually get enough seeds to plant a full-acre crisis garden. So visit them today at survivalseedbank.com. That's survivalseedbank.com, or give them a call at 877-327-0365. That's 877-327-0365. Remember, in a real crisis, non-hybrid seeds are the ultimate barter item. This is Alex Jones for survivalseedbank.com. It's time to knock the globalist out. It's a TKO. It's time to expose their fraud and their lies. It's time to get serious about freedom and to stop apologizing for it. Crank it up. Yeah, it's a TKO. It's time to defend the Republic against enemies, foreign and domestic. All right. By the way, we're going to be here this Christmas on the air with a premiere special Christmas transmission. And I need to get a little bit into the war on Christmas. I don't talk enough about that, but it's all about the globalist dictating how we talk, what we do, what we celebrate, and using American and Western hospitality to train us to just totally give up any culture we had and accept the plastic Madison Avenue garbage, the Justin Bieber type New World Order stuff where Britney Spears says, I think we ought to just do whatever our president says, and that's the end of it. Well, it doesn't matter if you don't do whatever your president says. Under this NDAA, it makes him supreme dictator and establishes martial law. In fact, let's go ahead and go to the C-SPAN clip. Even though this is one of the most important things we were going to cover last night on the Nightly News, I got so overwhelmed with our big top story I'm getting to in a moment that I didn't even play this. So here it is. Government says it can assassinate or indefinitely detain Americans on American soil without any due process. Okay? Face it. You're like, well, they're the good guys. Really, 9% of the public likes Congress. Do you really think they're the good guys? No, you know they're not. And so instead of being scared and going, well, I'll just stay out of this, or, oh, it's not that bad, don't be a coward. And I know our longtime listeners aren't, but we're on a lot of AM and FM stations, upwards of 100 now. We're on XM. We're on global shortwave. We're #1 audio streams on the internet for talk radio, many times above music on Shoutcast. #1 routinely, period. We got a lot of new listeners, and if you just tuned in, listen, this stuff's real. History's real, and you ignore this at your peril and all of our peril. We need you to make a decision, to get informed, to look at the facts, and to decide what side you're on. And to saddle up in the 21st century as the Paul Reveres you are, whether you're black, Hispanic, white, Asian, Catholic, Christian, Jewish, Hindu, atheist, whatever. We know what tyranny looks like. Everybody knows in every science fiction movie set in a dystopic future, black uniform, ski mask, face scanning cameras, checkpoints. Of course, they don't grab children's genitals in those. We're worse than that, with the TSA. And in those, they have to cook something up to secretly arrest you and detain you. October is bonus recruitment month. Remember, Cadre kids, report a family member and receive a double credit. Brought to you by Cadre Cola. I mean, that's from the mid-1980s Running Man, written by Stephen King, where anyone caught outside of their zone after dark will be permanently detained. You're like, oh, imagine a world run by mega corporations with Running Man shows, hunting people, and if you get caught outside after dark, you're permanently detained. They're talking about permanently detaining any... Did you know the government of the United States for decades tortures people? They torture political dissidents. They torture peaceful people. They torture doctors that refuse to be part of Medicaid or Medicare. Like what Dr. Sell, last time I checked, spent 10 years in solitary confinement being forced drugged just because he sued them back. Congressman Hansen, they drove him around for months, only letting him off maybe 20 minutes a day off the bus till his feet burst. Okay, this is what they do. We were talking to a prominent... nutrition company the other day, and the guy, for just promoting whey powder and stuff, that's milk protein, was dieseled, I think he said, for 7 months, living on government transports as a form of torture. And they get off on it. The dungeon keepers, psychically, spiritually, for whatever reason, for the same reason psychos like to grab little kids and torture them, they feed off the aura of chained humans in pain. Look at Abu Ghraib. They knew it was coming out, so the media ran with people tied up with dog chains and dead bodies and stuff like that. The Army's own report, Army report on Abu Ghraib, General Tagumbu, U.S. Filipino background general, General Tagumbu. They admitted at camps all over Iraq they rape children as young as 4 in front of their parents and put acid into their rectums. Go read it. Oh, we're the good guys. Jack Bauer does that. That's how you fight Al-Qaeda. Raping 5-year-old children. I mean, I hate to talk about this on air. This is the pit demons that run our government. The absolute, total demons of hell. And they want to drop the hammer first before they start arresting people and doing it to us. And I got news for the system. You're getting rid of the rule of law and everything else. I don't. It's just all a complete fraud. The whole thing's illegitimate. And I know the average cop's a good guy, the average military. Doesn't matter. I'm sure there were nice cops in Nazi Germany and nice military. You work for a hijacked government. I've explained this before. If you got on a city bus and a guy ran into the bus with a machine gun and dynamite around their chest and said, I'm taking over, and he pistol whipped the driver and put on the driver's uniform, would you just immediately do whatever he said? Studies show, you can pull this up with Stockholm Syndrome, been around forever, but they just named it, that about, 45% will totally submit and love the guy with the dynamite tied to him. See, I'm the bad man. I don't like the guy because he's wearing the bus driver cap with the dynamite strapped to him. I'm like, hey, you're not the bus driver, pal. You're a treasonous usurper. And they're like, I'll like the dynamite. And at a certain point, you've got to just deal with it. You can't just keep giving in to these terrorists who terrorize us with the terrorism. I mean, let's say you believe the terrorism's all real, and you ignore the fact that Al-Qaeda was created by the criminals that run our government and is being given control of all these countries right now and all the rest of this. Let's just say, okay, it's all real. Okay, we're going to do a piece actually tonight where you've got a better chance. We've got the statistics from the Justice Department, from World Almanac and others. You got a better chance of a vending machine falling over on you than being killed by terrorists. You've got a better chance of being struck by lightning. I mean, you know the statistics. We're going to show a whole bunch of them tonight. You got a better chance of being eaten by an American alligator, which is very rare. So, but it's not rare to be killed by an elephant or a hippopotamus if you live in Africa. We're going to get into those numbers. Much better chance of dying from a rattlesnake bite here in the U.S. than being killed by terrorists. So there's the whole hoax of our whole society changes, and the police are dressed in black uniforms, and there's checkpoints being set up, and they're groping our wives and daughters and children because of terrorism. And then in every case, you find out the government opens the door for the patsy lunatics that they use to attack us. And it's back in the news today where the criminals that run our government are funding terrorists. So at a primitive level, people look different than us, different culture, and there's all these shows and South Park and Team America, and it's fun to get into fear of the Muslims. And, okay, well, then why is the government bringing them in record numbers? I mean, if they're just all absolute devils who want to slit our throats. Okay, let's expand on that. If that's the case, then I mean, how do you square up Anwar al-Awlaki, number 3 in Al-Qaeda, meeting secretly at the Pentagon? How do you square up the head of the 7/7 bombers on record being MI6, Fox News, London Telegraph? Former FBI top chief, Loftus, exposing that. They're not all terrorists at the FBI. Got Mr. German from the FBI going public years ago saying they're getting ready for martial law. In Ventura's martial law piece, that's why the show was banned, because the show was 99% on target. It was bullseye, baby. You got the bullseye right in the middle of the dartboard. It was 90% into the red, barely touching the next ring. That show was so on target. And they're like, that's not airing again. This is a complete blueprint for what we're doing. I mean, it's not like we don't know the FEMA camp plan. We have the congressional hearings. We have the Wall Street Journal. We have the purchase orders. We have all this. But you notice when they put out bids for FEMA camps in 2006 for civil emergency and catastrophic attacks and civil disorder, that at least the Wall Street Journal said, oh, look, here's giant bids to build FEMA camps. Now that they got Department of Defense under Rural Affairs running it, designating government employees as blue, U.S. citizens as red, in the same designation as Iraq and Afghanistan, where they're wearing transponders, and they talk about, deploying forces, barricades, delivering, I mean, it's all for the drones. GPS at your front door. Even I can't believe this, to actually see it happening and to see them now flipping the power switches on. It's one thing to have a gun in the gun case, but now they've gone to the combination, they've opened it, they've gotten the M14 out, they've taken a loaded cartridge, and they've jammed it in, and they're now loading around chambering around, and now they're pointing it at us. And the documents say they're going to pull the trigger because they've designed the implosion. And in the implosion, the police, the military, everybody who goes along with this, you destroy yourself as well. It's not like you're having martial law because a nuke went off from real terrorists or a meteor hit us or those giant, 10.5 earthquakes all over the U.S. or something. And then there's looting and whatever, and the troops have got to be called out. This isn't some legitimate contingency plan. This is a controlled demolition on record for a post-industrial America by criminal terrorist banking oligarchs who publicly created the 1.5 quadrillion that had our treasonous government sign on to it. This is bondage. This is economic conquest with a paramilitary backup behind it. Now, we're 44 minutes into this transmission, and I'm going to open the phones up for the entire second hour, ahead of Don Browning, one of the cops they haven't killed.